Honestly, this was one of the very first PCs I ever flipped in my entire, PC flipping career. I'm talking about, the HP Compact Pro 6300 small form factor. There's the 8300 small form factor. Sorry for that, my wife is calling me. Yeah, hello. I was talking about the fact that this was one of the very first PCs I ever flipped, the HP Compact Pro 6300, small form factor PC. This PC here, guys, I'm talking about, flipping PCs in the days where, the Dell Optiplex 7010 small form factor, the Dell Optiplex 7010 Tower PC was the in thing to flip. Guys were flipping these PCs on eBay. If you ever go onto eBay, the very first, search result that you will find is possibly a Dell Optiplex 7020 or a HP Compact Elite. There was the 8300, the 8200, the 6200. These PCs, guys, I pretty much rock these PCs, and it wasn't only the fact that I rock this PC, I also experienced every form of problem that this PC could ever have. This one has been sold now, was flipped for 197 euros because the buyer pretty much wants a lot of things. This PC you see right here, I experienced every kind of problem that this PC could ever have in life. This PC, there were times I needed to change this power supply. There were times, the main board was defective. I needed to change the main board altogether. There was a time, where RAMs would not work, password on, BIOS password on the PC, processor defective, SSD hard drive, so many things, chassis fan not working. The list goes on and on and on. This PC was one workhorse PC. People were buying it, schools were buying it, private individuals were buying it, and people were actually gaming on this PC because on this PC there was just the possibility, which was kind of great, for you to go ahead and slap a low profile graphic card on this PC. This PC, whenever I see it, it kind of reminds me of the good old days, the good old days when the competition was not so breakneck on eBay or whatever platform you sell on. Right now, yes, the competition is pretty much a lot, but there's still a way to do this thing so as to make profit doing it. And it's exactly what I show you on this channel. If you're not subscribed, please make sure you consider subscribing to the channel. You will definitely be glad you did. So this PC kind of reminds me of a lot. So when this buyer reached out to me, I was like, wow. Honestly, this is one of the last dinosaurs I do have on my eBay shop. The Dell of this 7010 has become so difficult to get. I don't even think anybody still has, that PC to sell. That PC, we sold it. We made profit selling that PC because the PC was just a good PC, and it wasn't just the Dell Optiplex 7010 or the HP Compact Lite. There was a Fujitsu Esprimo, the Fujitsu Esprimo E720. That was one PC, was one generation, above this because this was the third gen Intel Core Core i5, Core i3, Core i7. But the Fujitsu Esprimo E720 was a fourth gen Intel Core PC, and this PC was one PC that really did make a lot of difference in my business. It exploded my business because this PC looked very cute. These days it's actually very hard to see these PCs now. If you even ever get to see them, they are going to be filled with all manner of scratches that it's just best for you not to deal on these PCs. But I still have the HP Compact Elite on my eBay shop, and because of that, people that know quality, I always say on this channel, if you know, this quality thing is not for everybody. Some people tend to think that, the fact that the PC is already over 10 years old is just not going to be, good quality. It's not going to be able to deliver on your job. Guys, that is fundamentally very wrong. People that still know quality stuff, when they go online to shop for items, they tend to want to look for the HP Compact, the 6300, the 8300, the Dell Optiplex 7020, 7010, 3010, They want to look for the Fujitsu Esprimo E720, E710. When I remember these PCs, I am like, wow, we have come a long way. In this time, there was pretty much not so big boom with the mini PCs that you have now. You go onto eBay, the things you tend to see a lot of mini PCs all around. In this time, there was just not so many mini PCs. You had a lot of small form factor PCs. You had tower PCs. This was what people were actually going for. Tower PCs, small form factor PCs. The mini PCs were not a thing at the time. But then we sold these PCs, and this was one of the PCs that taught me that, look, whenever you go out to sell PCs, you have to make sure that the PC is in very, very good condition. You have to make sure that the PC is user-friendly, not complicated to open, because if the PC is so complicated to open, then you're going to be running into troubles. And then the PC was, very, very upgrade-friendly. One of the things that you also have to consider if you want to, continue to do this business and make profit. How upgrade-friendly is the PC? And this is one of the PCs that taught me that, look, it's actually very possible to upgrade a PC, the RAM, the hard drives, and actually go ahead to sell it for profit. I started doing it at the time. I wasn't on eBay. I was just kind of selling locally. But later on, I realized that there was a thing like eBay, and this was way before 2013. And ever since, I have been rocking this PC. It's interesting to know that even in 2025, I still have this PC in my shop. And this is, kind of amazing. When this young man wrote me, he did ask if this PC was coming at a discount, because I did write on my offer that, look, I can actually offer a little discount if you go ahead and buy this PC. So I ended up giving the young man a €5 discount. He was a very friendly guy. He didn't really ask much. He just asked if I could actually go ahead and ship the PC all the way to Spain. All right. So on my offer, I do ship around Europe. Of course, not everywhere, but shipping to Spain is something that shouldn't have been a problem for me. So I went ahead, replied him and said, look, I can actually ship this PC to Spain. And before I knew it, this PC was sold. Boom, eBay did its magic, and the money pretty much landed in my account, the next day. So I'm going to be shipping this PC out today. Hopefully the buyer still can receive this PC and still have, a sweat time with this PC. The beautiful thing is that when I was doing this business a long time ago, I wasn't actually, like I said, selling on eBay. One selling point I was using at the time to sell this PC was that I was offering, to deliver this PC to wherever the buyers were. And this was the best thing, the best strategy at the time. I didn't have so much going on then with life. I wasn't even married then. I didn't have kids. It was just one big strategy, because at the time people kind of lived in New York City. People didn't have time. There was a lot of traffic. So whenever anybody bought this PC from me, then it was an eBay classified ad, called Kleine Anzeige. This website is no longer owned by eBay. eBay did sell it to somebody else. But then when somebody wrote me and said they wanted this PC, what I was doing at the time was that, yes, I can actually deliver this PC to you if you pay me just a little delivery fee, sometimes €10, sometimes €5, and I will go ahead, bundle this PC up in my car and take it directly to the, the buyer's address, and I will get paid for that. This was what I was doing, and these PCs, they never disappointed me. I can really say that on very, very, very few occasions, I did get a buyer reaching back to me to say that the PC wasn't working. These PCs were excellent. They were quiet. They were doing their job. And there was just not so many incidents of, PC failed during operation. After 1 week, PC doesn't seem to work anymore. And this was why these PCs were absolutely the best. And today, if you still go onto eBay, you realize that this PC is still selling. As a matter of fact, I just sold one of them. This is the reason why it's packed, and it's going to be shipped out to the buyer. All right, these PCs are strong, and if you want to get your feet wet, flipping PCs for profit, you want to begin to look at these pieces. Yes, you might be getting them now at a price that is a little bit very expensive, because right now you only have the few ones left. You know, these are like the last dinosaurs. These pieces are going to be wiped out. As a matter of fact, I want to put in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, it's going to be very hard to get these kind of pieces. But then if you are trying to get used to the PC flipping game, this is one place you can actually start. The pieces are not complicated. Installing RAM sticks on them, or SSDs, or even hard drives on them are very, very easy to do. And, you know, cleaning them up, packing them up, they are a little bit heavy, so also have to, you know, put that into consideration. Pieces that you have these days, they are so light that you can pretty much pack them up just with one hand. But these pieces, you might have to put in a little bit of effort to make sure that, you know, you lift them up. This is just what it is. Gonna be days where you get very good quality, you know, stuff. They are still very good quality stuff, but I don't know, for one reason or the other, things like this are just becoming increasingly lighter. This is what it is. But then I want to say that this PC really taught me a lot. You know, I got a lot of experience, you know, flipping these pieces, not only the HP, like I said. And yes, whenever I have these pieces today, it just reminds me of exactly how I started flipping PCs many years ago. Let me know how you started flipping the items you flip on eBay or whatever platform that you sell on. Go into the comment section, write me up, and let's get this conversation, you know, going until I see you again in the next one. Peace.